The finance time machine takes us back to ancient China, not to wars or legends, but to money, taxes, and the financial system that supported one of the longest-lasting civilizations in history. Ancient China did not survive for centuries by chance. Its stability was based on a well-organized economic structure, where the state controlled money, taxation, and key sources of revenue. In the earliest periods, Chinese society used cowrie shells as money. These shells were rare, easy to carry, and widely accepted. This made them suitable as a medium of exchange. Over time, as trade expanded, shells were replaced by metal currencies made of bronze. Early Chinese coins had unusual shapes, including knives and spades, reflecting tools that were central to everyday economic life. Later, the state introduced standardized round bronze coins with a square hole in the center. This design was practical. Coins could be strung together, counted easily, and transported in large quantities. Most importantly, these coins were issued and regulated by the government, which helped maintain trust in their value. This made ancient China one of the first civilizations to establish large-scale state-controlled coinage. Taxes were the foundation of the imperial economy. The government relied on a structured taxation system that reached almost every household. The most important tax was the land tax, usually paid in grain such as rice, wheat, or millet. Instead of money, farmers delivered part of their harvest directly to the state. Another major obligation was the labor tax. Adult males were required to work for the state for a certain number of days each year. This labor was used to build roads, canals, city walls, and irrigation systems. There was also a household tax, calculated according to family size and registration records. The grain collected through taxation was stored in state granaries. These reserves allowed the government to stabilize food prices and prevent famine. When harvests were poor, grain was released into the market. This policy helped control inflation and social unrest, showing an early understanding of economic intervention. The Chinese state also generated income through monopolies. The most important were salt and iron. Salt was essential for food preservation, and iron was critical for tools and weapons. By controlling production and distribution, the government secured stable revenue without increasing pressure on farmers. In some periods, alcohol production was also regulated by the state for fiscal purposes. Trade played a significant role in public finance. Internal markets were taxed, and merchants paid fees for trading rights. Long-distance trade, including silk and other luxury goods, brought additional revenue through customs duties. Unlike many ancient states, China did not depend only on conquest for income. It relied on continuous production, taxation, and regulated commerce. One of the most important financial innovations came much later with the introduction of paper money. At first, merchants used paper certificates as proof of deposited coins. Over time, the government transformed these certificates into official banknotes backed by the state. This reduced the need to transport heavy metal coins and made large-scale trade easier. However, paper money also created risks. When the state issued too much currency without sufficient reserves, inflation followed. These episodes demonstrate that ancient Chinese governments already faced problems similar to those of modern central banks. The financial system of ancient China was not simple, but it was highly effective. It combined taxation in kind, labor obligations, state monopolies, controlled currency, and market regulation. These mechanisms allowed the empire to fund armies, maintain infrastructure, and survive economic shocks over centuries. Ancient China was not only a cultural or philosophical power, it was a financial system ahead of its time. Many principles that define modern economics were already present, tested, and refined long before the modern world existed. This is why ancient China truly belongs in the finance time machine.